So what I have here is the newest 2004 Godzilla next to the 2002 Godzilla. So this is even though there was a 2003 movie, I think it's a seamless transition because I think the 2002 Godzilla was reused. So there's the two of them. I thought that in preparation for talking about the newest uh, Monster Arts release of Godzilla, that I would talk about the movie that it's based on, which is Godzilla Final Wars, which I rewatched. Um, so, having rewatched it, I can tell you that I'm not a big fan of this one. This is the 50th anniversary celebration, and it included tons and tons and tons of different kaiju from different eras, going all the way back to Showa. Um, it also, I would say, if you, when you're watching it, if you've seen the 1999 The Matrix, there is a huge influence, and I don't really think it works in the Godzilla universe. There's a couple problems. First of all, I don't think that Final Wars was very good at creating compelling human characters, and the fact of the matter is that the kaiju are in the movie only a small percentage of the time. That's always the case. In fact, Godzilla, after being trapped in ice, no, well, yeah, I guess he was trapped and caged early in the movie, doesn't make another appearance for over an hour of the film. And there are appearances by all sorts of other kaiju, but Godzilla doesn't make an appearance. So you need to have compelling human characters, and they really aren't compelling. They're, like I said, very very similar in tone to the Matrix, except the problem is that Toho doesn't have the money or the technical knowledge to put together anything even approaching what the Matrix was able to do. So it comes off as kind of a cheap knockoff of the Matrix. It really resembles something that would be either straight to DVD or some kind of sci-fi original movie. Um, it just has a cheapness to it, and so I went back and I also watched uh, Godzilla Tokyo SOS, the previous movie, and this followed Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. And both of those movies I think are significantly better because they played to Toho's strengths. Toho's strengths are not um, CGI and wire working stunts and all sorts of stuff like that. Their strengths are creating interesting characters and the monster battles, creating miniatures and humans in costumes, and that's where their strength is. And this one just didn't play to that. So Gigan here, our guy Gigan, he's built up quite a bit in the movie, only to get obliterated in about half a second by Godzilla. He comes back in his second form, which is sort of half and half here. He had the buzzsaw hands, but some of the other features are not in line with the final form. He did better as the final form, but died in a humiliating fashion when he decapitated himself by sending out blades from his chest that swung back and chopped his own head off. So he did not do well. Godzilla pretty much just went through and steamrolled all the different kaiju. The only ones that did any that did well at all against him were Monster X, which Bandai is going to be releasing, and that's going to be either later this year or maybe early next year. And then the final form, which is Kaiser uh, um, Ghidorah. And Kaiser Ghidorah actually was more than just effective against Godzilla. He beat the hell out of Godzilla. The only reason that Godzilla was able to win was because the humans were able to send him a jolt of power because he was pretty much done. And that's how he beat Kaiser Ghidorah. But this is not the only movie where they've featured kind of a an all-star lineup of kaiju. and they tend to not be my favorites. The other one I'm thinking of is Godzilla All Out Attack, which is not nearly as many, but again, Godzilla just stomps the stomps a mud hole in the other kaiju, including in that movie Ghidorah. So he has more trouble with Ghidorah, but by and large, once he's free, he just steamrolls him. The MMA fighter Don Fry actually is a significant character in this. He's not an actor. He's an MMA fighter, retired now, years since retired, um, and he's got a good, I guess, a good look. I don't know about presence because he's just not an actor. And to put someone like that in such a prominent role in the movie, it just kind of shows the kind of production that they were doing. They were really more about style over substance. And so I didn't think much of the movie. It's the final movie, the final of all of the live action classic Godzilla movies. The next one after this would be Shin Godzilla, and that is the final Godzilla movie from Toho, other than animations, which I'm not sure who produced them. I have not watched any of the animations, and then of course then there's the American versions, which have been getting released, and I don't know if they're just trying to. I mean, there is a sort of an overlap. Not that they have anything to do with each other, but release wise between Shin Godzilla and the American Legendary Picture Godzillas. So I don't know if Toho is trying to kind of avoid using the classic Godzilla as long as Legendary is doing their thing because they want to avoid comparison, or what. But I don't think that this is the best way for Godzilla to go out. I think that Tokyo SOS was a much better movie. Um, I even think of like Godzilla versus Destroyer. I think that would have been a much better way for Godzilla to go out. But in the final of the movie, Godzilla and what's his Manara, his son, who's from Son of Godzilla, very silly looking creature, and he and Godzilla um, march off into the ocean together. So I guess unlike in Godzilla versus Destroyer, where Godzilla is has a meltdown, and then apparently his energy goes into his son. In this case, both son and child survive, and they're off into the ocean. So, yeah, for whatever reason, Bandai decided to go all in on Final Wars. We've got Final Wars Godzilla, Final Wars Gigan, and then uh, either later this year or next year, we're going to have Monster X. And then if you want a Ghidorah, well, Bandai's released Ghidorah several times, so I don't know that there's necessarily a Kaiser Ghidorah, but Kaiser Ghidorah, if you look here, looks pretty much like Ghidorah. So if you want to have them all, just use the Kaiser Ghidorah.